Okay, hi everybody. This will be the second assignment, and this is the second tutorial video for assignment 2. We're going to do the same kind of thing as we did in assignment 1. We're going to spin BLOO around. Just for you guys to get a feeling of when you eventually do a character, again, you're animating for a game, it's good to know how to draw your character from, you know, 360 degrees. And again, when you do a 360-degree turn, um, you don't do 360 drawings. You really are drawing from the front, from three-quarter front, profile, three-quarter back, back, three-quarter back, profile, three-quarter front. So you're really doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 7 drawings. Okay? And then you just spin it and it looks like you're having your character spin around. Okay, so for assignment 2, we just open up Adobe Animate. Let's go to File, or actually, let's go to Create New. Sorry, let's go to Create New and hit Create New, which is over on the left here, and you'll get this little window eventually popping up. And let's just, right now mine is clicks on to 1920 by 1080, you'll see. You can click on other ones. Let's click on, it defaults to 1920 to 1080. Let's do that, which means it's width of 1920 pixels and a height of 1080 pixels. Forget frame rate and just hit create. Okay, there we go. Let's do Control minus and just move out a little bit. You can also change that way over here on the right. You'll see this little clip. That's that little icon, clip content outside the stage. We talked about that when we did our first tutorial about doing the backgrounds of the mountains. Again, this white rectangle is a stage. Imagine you're in the audience and anything that's on that or within that white rectangle is the stage. You see it. Anything off stage is outside of that white rectangle is off stage. You don't see it. So let's go to, it says 50%. Let's go to 75%. You can actually type in anything you want there. I'll type in 63% and it goes to 63%. Okay. So I'm just going to go to 75 and there it is. Okay. Let's move our properties window out of the way. And let's, we're going to import, well actually, yeah, I'm going to import BLOO, but when I give you this file, you don't have to do the import. So I'm doing the import, okay? So I'm going to do a file, import to our library, and I'm going to find my BLOO stuff here, and let's see which one I want. And I'm going to take this guy here, and I'm going to open it. And if you'll see in my library, if your library isn't open, go to Windows and go down to Library. But my library is already open, and there he is. All right, cool. So let's bring him over to, we're on layer 1, frame 1, and let's bring our friend BLOO over, and there he is. And I'm going to make him a little bit bigger. Okay. And what I'm going to do, so we can draw on top of it, I'm going to turn the brightness down a little bit. So I go to Properties, okay. And first of all, we're going to do like we did for the spinning rock. It's going to be 30 frames long. So I'm going to go to frame 1, and I'm going to hold down my F5 key, which will drag out that drawing for 30 frames. But you can do it one frame at a time. So I'm hitting F5 one frame at a time, or can hold the F5 key down and just drag it out. Okay. So now let's go to Properties, and let's go to, in order to do that, we first have to make him into a symbol. And if you remember, a symbol is like a book within the library. Okay, so I have to make it a symbol in order to utilize some of the features in the properties window. So I'm just going to click on it. Okay, going up to modify, and you'll see if you go down just a little bit here, you'll see convert to symbol. So you can convert that to a symbol. Let's call it BLOO and hit OK. And now in our library, we've got BLOO. Okay, now let's go back to properties and let's go to, okay, it's graphic. So let's go down to color effects. All right, so we're in the properties window here, object, make sure it's a graphic, come down to here and go to brightness. And let's, I can drag it all the way out so he disappears into whiteness, or I can drag him off and he goes all the way into shadow. Let's go to about 50% or so. All right, so now we're going to draw on top of this friend of ours. First thing let's do is the body. Okay, so layer 1, let's rename that body. Okay, then let's hit an icon for new layer, and let's call that one the eyes. And let's click a new layer and call that the mouth. So I'm separating all the pieces of BLOO here into separate layers. Okay, let's lock layers, the eyes, and let's lock the layer of the mouth. And let's, I'm sorry, let's create another layer for the body, because the one I named body is actually I'm going to rename to BLOO, because that's our original drawing. And then layer here, I'm going to make that a body. So we're going to do each part separately. Okay, so in our first frame, let's make sure we have our color window open, and right now it's from the last time its line is red and the fill is black. Let's flip that. Just move your cursor down where it says swap colors, and we're going to draw right on top of this. Okay, so the bottom is pretty much a straight line in order to keep a straight line. So we are going to, if I hold my shift key down, I can do that, or I can just, I'm moving, I'm going to get larger here, all right? Let's make that line thicker, so I'm going to go to 3. Remember, in properties, stroke color, and I'm going to do that, okay? Then I'm going to draw, I'm going to make this go down here, and I'm going to make that a little bit larger. Okay, so now I'm going to draw up a line all the way to this point right before it starts to curve, and then on the other side do the same thing. Now from this point I'm going to draw a line to about here. It looks like there's a big curve of a dome, okay? And then I'm going to draw a line like that. Okay. And then I'm bending the line, and then I'm going to bend the line so we get a nice little kind of and I'm just bending the line so we don't get a little pointy head on them there. And okay. So I'm a little bit off of what the original drawing looks like, but that's not too bad. Okay, it doesn't have to be perfect, but there's my body. And I'm going to actually make that line a little thicker, so I'm just going to click anywhere on the black line, double click, and I'm going to make that, say, 4. Make it 5. No, I'll make it 4. All right. So there's our body, okay? Now if we go to let's go back to the blue character, and I'm going to turn the brightness back down to 0 because I want to get the color fill for the body. So I want to get the proper blue color. So I go to my toolbox and I go down to eyedropper tool and I click on that color blue, and you'll see in your color window you've got that color blue. So let's lock that. Wait a minute. Let's lock that. Excuse me. Go up to the body layer, and I'm going to fill it with blue. So there's my body. It's done. All right. So let's go to and lock that layer, and I'm going to turn it off. Okay, because I don't need it right now. Let's go back to the blue layer, the original drawing. Let's unlock that, and let's select it anywhere, and let's turn that brightness back up to about 50. Doesn't have to be exactly 50, but close enough. Okay, so now we're going to draw the eyes. Okay, and let's do this. So, let's go back, and the body's not going to change. All right, it's going to spin, but the body's not changing. So the body isn't morphing into a different shape. It's just he's going to basically like spin on his axis. So the only thing that we're going to be changing is the eye movement and the mouth movement. Okay, so let's go to the eyes, and we're going to create some eyes for blue. So we go down to our toolbox. We go to where it might say rectangle. That lower, just click on it. That lower to the right, lower right, that little gray arrow, and make sure it's oval. And we're going to hold our shift key down because those eyes look pretty much like a sphere. At least this big one does. Hold my shift key down, and I'm going to create an eye like that. Okay. And I'm going to click on the blue fill and get rid of it. So then I just clicked on the eye like that. Now you'll notice that they've created more of a thicker line. That's just an artistic choice. I'm not going to do that right now. I'm going to just create a sphere using a same thickness line all the way around. But in the style for this, the style that was created for this character, there is a change in thickness. You'll notice up on top here, it's a thinner line, and then it gets thicker. We're not going to do that right now. We can go back and do that, but let's just create a sphere like this. Okay, and then I'm going to create a eye, a pupil. But right now it's blue. Let's do this. Let's go to our color window. Let's go down to swap colors, and then let's go back and create a nice little sphere for the eye. And then I'm going to get rid of that blue outline, and bang, we got it. Okay, so let's do this. Let's go back to the color window, and let's see the paint fill, the fill color. Let's do white, and now we've got our eye. Okay, so there's our eye. All right, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to create another layer. So this is the layer for the first eye. I'm going to create another layer for the other eye. That way each one of them will be on a different layer. Okay, so I'm going to create another layer, and call that layer I2. Okay, so I've got 5 layers right now. I've got mouth, I2, I1, body, and then the original blue. So let's go and create the I2. All right, so I'm locking I1. So now let's go to make sure that our stroke color is black. And I'm going to create another eye, but this one's not a sphere, it's more of an oval shape. I select the black outline, the inner white. In order to do that, I can just click on frame 1 of layer I2, or I could, 3 ways of doing it. I can then just drag a cursor around it, what you want to select, okay? A square around it, I'm sorry. And then, or you can just click on the line, hold your shift key down, click on the white. So 3 ways of selecting something. It's either select it in frame 1, okay, or draw a rectangle around it, or click on the line, shift key, click on the inner part. So let's go like right there. Okay, and let's use our, let's use the circle from our first eye. So I'm going to go there, click on that, I'm going to copy it. I'm going to lock layer 1, go back to layer 2, and paste in place, and then move this guy over here, and let's see what that looks like. In order to see what that looks like, let's I'm going to turn, there's 3 icons up here. Remember, there's a lock, an eye with a line through it, and then there's outline. I'm going to click on that outline just for that layer, and so we can move. There we go. So now if I click that, turn that layer, that outline off. Now we got our eyes. All right. So let's unlock, actually let's lock everything. Let's go to line 4 and hit F6 on the eyes, F6 on both eye layers, right? So now these guys are going to be moving. So I'm going to select, and I'm going to select the eye in frame 4, select the, on layer I2, hold my shift key down and select the frame 4 in layer I1. Now I'm going to start to move them over. Okay. Let's do that. All right. Now, okay. So then we're going to go to frame 7. I'm going to hit F6 and then hit F6 again for both layers. And then I'm going to, whoops, move them over. Okay, so now layer 2, I'm going to go back and get rid of it because as our character here is turning, he is you're not going to see that eye anymore. But another choice I'm going to make is that as it's turning, it stops being a sphere. I'm talking about the first eye, the bigger eye. And so I'm going to go over here and, okay, so you've got this. If we go to frame 1, which is the same drawing in frame 1, 2, 3, you've got the eye on the left, perfect sphere, eye on the right, oval shape. All right, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to frame 4, and I'm going to make sure I select everything. So I'm just going to put using my selection tool, I'm just going to select everything. But now I'm going to go to the next tool under selection tool is free transform. So as it's turning, you're not going to see the sphere anymore. It's going to be starting to be like an oval shape. So I'm going to select free transform, and I'm going to kind of go like that. So as it's turning, you're going to see it's going to be more of an oval shape. Okay. So if we scrub through, you'll see the eyes go like this. Don't worry about the eye, getting rid of the eye at some point, but cutting off the eye. Well, I'll show you what I mean. So you've got this. Okay, so let's go to frame 7. I'm going to delete what's in frame 7 on the I1 layer. Okay, and I'm going to go back to my drawing on frame 4. I'm going to copy it. I'm going to go to frame 7 and I'm going to hit paste in place. I'm now going to move it over here and I'm going to make sure that in my toolbox I have selected free transform, and then I'm just going to, oops, let me select that again. Okay. Actually, I'm going to move it a little bit over here. We're going to so there's your eyes. Okay. All right, so there's, now I'm going to show you something that you can use in Adobe Animate, which is called, it's called onion skin. And when animators originally drew back in on paper and pencil back in the 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, into the 60s, it wasn't until computer animation kicked in and that happened in the 90s. You had to draw paper on pencil in order to see what you did beforehand. You might be working on a drawing, but you want to see what's a drawing beforehand, which would be underneath. They would light the table from underneath, so it would almost look like it's tracing paper. So in order for you to do that here, to give the same effect, I'm going up here where above the timeline you'll see these little, all these icons here. Go over to one that says onion skin and click that on. And then you'll see the vertical blue line. And then to the right you'll see this neon vertical green line. So I'm just going to drag that all the way over to the right. And then you'll get that effect. So what you're seeing is drawing 1, then if I go over to drawing 2 in frame 4, and then you'll see the movement. Okay? It's kind of like looking at it through tracing paper. You can see what was the layer you're working on, the layer after it. Now you can see the layer, the before layer and the after layer, and then that. Okay, so there. Okay, so there we go. All right, so in frame, let's turn the onion skin off. Okay, and frame 7, 8, 9, 10. Let's hit F7, blank keyframe. Let's do that for both layers. Both layers. I1 and I2. Let's 1, 2, 3. Let's every 3 frames I'm hitting F7. And I'm just going to keep doing that until I get out to frame 30. And there we go. Okay, so right now we've got our eyes moving. Okay. All right, so I'm going to go back to frame 4 on I2. I'm going to make that guy just a little bit smaller. Okay. And I'm adjusting it as I go, but let's just get the basic movement down and then we'll go back. We can go back and change it. All right, so then it's going to disappear in frame 9, 10, frame 10, frame 13, 15, 6, 19, and then 22. I think 22 we'll have him coming around the other side. Let's see. Trying to figure out where I want to have my drawings. 25, 24. All right, so let's go to frame 19. And I think that's where we're going to have our drawings start to come around the other side. Okay, so what do we have to do? Let's go to frame on layer 2. I'm going to copy that, go to frame 19, paste in place, but it's coming around the other side, so I'm going to hold my shift key down and then just drag it over. Okay, all right, and then I'm going to go to frame 22. I'm going to copy that, frame 22, and I'm going to drag that over here, and then I'm going to copy it and drag it over some more. And I'm going to, since I've got it in free transform, I'm going to make that a little fatter. And maybe make it a little bit larger this way. Okay, and then I'm going to copy and put it right over here. Okay, so then that should be my eye. All right. So now let's lock up layer I2. So now let's go to, I'm going to copy what I have in frame 7, go to edit, copy, and I'm going to go to frame 22, okay, paste in place, but I'm going to click drag, or shift drag over here. Okay, and then I'm going to copy that, move it to frame 25, and I'm going to, that's good, and I'm going to copy that, go to frame 28, and then drag that over here, and I'm going to go make it look like that. So I'm using the free transform tool, and so I can do things like that or that, or okay. So I think we have the eyes. So let's go up to the loop for now, and let's click on it, and you'll see that it's going to move really quick between 1, 2, and 3. So let's just drag this out up to frame 30, and if I hit loop, we have our eyes going around, so we have him spinning. Okay, so let's see. Now let's lock that up for now. Let's do the mouth, and we're not going to do, well, let's see. I'll tell you what. Let's try doing something different with the mouth. Let's turn off the loop for a minute up here. Let's go to the line tool in frame 1. Okay. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to make sure I have my stroke line stroke color black, and I'm going to draw a line like this. But I'm going to, this time I'm going to thicken that line. Okay, so it looks like it's thinner at the ends and thicker in the middle. So I'm just going to draw a line. I'm going to go up to Modify, go to Shape, and Convert to Lines, or Convert to Fill. Convert lines to fills. And all I'm going to do is once I create that line, let's do this all over again. Okay? Draw a line like this first. Bend it like so. Select it. Go to Modify. Go to Shape and Convert Lines to Fill. This will allow you to thicken the line the way you would want to. I'm going to make sure I'm zooming in pretty big. And okay. So if you get something like that, I'm not crazy about that shape. Let's try something different. Let's go back to original, what it was. So this is still a line at this point. And let's try that again. Let's go to Modify, Shape, select it first. Go to Modify, Shape, and Convert Lines to Fill. Whoever fill is, and yeah, okay, let's stick with that. That's not too bad. Maybe no, we'll thicken it. We'll move it a little bit, see what we got here. And I'm just moving it on top of the drawing. Whoop. And that's not too bad. Let's stick with that. Okay. So you can play around with it. Once you draw a line like so, you then select that line and go to Modify, Shape, Convert to Line, and then you can shape it the way you want. Okay. And I'm going to undo, get rid of it. Okay, so now we have our mouth. Okay, so the mouth, let's go to frame, let's select it. We'll go to frame 4, F6, keyframe, and let's move him this way. Okay, let's go to frame 7, F6, and we're going to move it here. Okay, and then frame 7, we're going to hit F6, and we're going to make sure that it's almost like you're seeing just part of it. Okay, and then frame 13, hit F7, blank keyframe, blank keyframe, and then you'll start to see it in frame 22, so hit blank keyframe. Let's go to frame 10, we'll copy that one, go to frame 22, and then move this guy over like so. Okay, and then in frame 25, we'll move him over like that, and then in frame 28, we'll move it over like that. Okay, so now we've got the eyes and the mouth. So if I go up here and I loop it, he's spinning on his axis with her right in the middle of his body. Okay, so let's go back to the body. Okay, and let's hit it now. Let's see what that looks like. So he's spinning around, but the thing is, you see some of the mouth and the eyes overlap the body. So what we're going to do is we're going to do this. We're going to go to the body part, and I'm going to select the body, the outline, that black outline. I'm going to click on it, double click so I get the whole thing. And I'm going to go over here. I'm going to go to copy. And I'm going to go to the first eye. Okay. And I'm going to go to that first, and I'm going to place, I'm actually going to go to the eye frame 4, layer 2, frame 4. Layer I2, and I'm going to paste that line so that I can now, okay, so you got that line, body outline going right through that eye. So now I'm going to click on the white part that shouldn't be there, and I'm going to click on the black part that shouldn't be there. And then you got that. Okay, so let's do the same thing over to, wait a minute, forget about the mouth. Let's go to the eye. And I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to paste in place that black outline for the body. And I'm going to get rid of what I don't need. Do the same thing. Okay. All right. So now we've got I2 done. Let's go to I1. Okay. And I'm going to paste in place the black outline. Zoom in. Get rid of what I don't want. And then I'm going to go to frame 22 where the eyes start to come around from the other side. Paste in place that black outline. Get rid of what I don't want. Okay. Same thing on frame 25. Whoops. Yeah, frame 25. Get rid of what you don't want. I'll just see how I'm selecting that. And now we've got the eyes. Okay. Again, this assignment, get used to trying to drawing your character from 360 degrees. You don't need to do that. In order to draw 360 degrees, you need 7 drawings. So you need like 1 drawing here, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Well, actually 10. In this case, 10. But sometimes you can get away with 4, depending how fast it turns. The more drawings you have, the slower an animation. The fewer drawings you have, the faster the animation. So in this case, we've got 10 drawings. Okay, let's go to the mouth now and do the same kind of thing. Let's see where the mouth overlaps. There it does. So let's paste that black outline. Make sure you have all your other layers locked. If you're not working on a layer, lock it. So there we go. And there we go. And one more time. And there you go. Now let's play it. Let's loop that guy and see what we got. So now you've got BLOO just spinning around. Okay? Pretty simple, but you know, remember when you're drawing, start with simple shapes and then you draw more complicated characters as you evolve. You evolve as your characters, everything goes through an evolution. Your characters go through an evolution. In design, your characters go through your ability as an animator and an artist goes through an evolution. So just keep that in mind. So let's see what that looks like for a little bit. Now, if you were doing this, changes I would make in an animation is that things don't move as mechanically as this. Things wouldn't actually move in what they call an arc. Most animation moves in a curved line. So, but this is what, and your second. We won't get into that at this point. We can move on to that a little bit later. So this is your assignment 2. This is exactly what I want to see. Okay. All right. So I'm going to save this as assignment 2, spinning blue. Okay. And then once you complete it, put it out in Dropbox. So what I'm going to send you is this video, and I'm going to send you the character. I'm going to save it as BLOO starting point. Okay, starting points, very good. And I'm going to save that. And what I'll put out on Blackboard will be this tutorial and the file that you will use to do this. Okay, so that's it, and I will see you on Wednesday.